Yalla, infidels, what you want to do? Want to be ballers, shot callers, brawlers, who be dipping in the Benz with the spoilers, on the Loke with the Jake and the Taurus. It's my man, the big bull himself, Silvio's back in the house, baby, ready to put that deathlock, no Kanta Hajime on you, and there's no Judas effect tonight. There's no intro music. There's only that real wrestling Rampage talk. Is CM Punk going to show up? We'll find out on Light the Fuse. YOLO. Sil, good to see you, my man.
Whoa. Hamin, always a pleasure seeing you, my friend. And I am back, and I'm in the house, literally inside of the house for a rousing episode here of Light the Fuse. And as a bonus, dude, for our loyal listeners on Patreon, and our friends over at Realm. As a bonus, we're also going to discuss a little bit of what happened Friday night at AEW Rampage, which I got to say was a hell of a fucking show.
Yeah, it was very good, man. I'm just going to do the spot up front so we can get it. Can I get the mic moved right in front of you so I can get it? I just hear in the whole room, bud. And it's up. Beautiful.
How are we looking?
Oh yeah, yes, as Daniel Bryan would say. Yeah, man, Rampage. I did the SmackDown Live self-help group and enjoyed a fair amount there, and I've broken down my thoughts on all the Cena Reigns stuff and how far along Seth Rollins has come. Very impressive. But there is some business with WWE, and Russo and I are actually developing a a new show that I don't want to stooge it all off yet, that has to deal with AEW and WWE. You might even seen the story about it from Pitbull Gary Wolf saying that he believes McMahon owns AEW to some degree. Let me ask you this move. Why, if you have Cena and Roman Reigns on your show in the big explosive almost go home, we've got tomorrow, which I won't be doing SmackDown Live self-help group. I'm going to see Nas tomorrow, so that'll be good. Yeah. But if you have that on your show and they do it up top and you end with what was it, Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, and now they both may have COVID and that match is canceled possibly for SummerSlam, like there's been no formal announcement yet. We'll see on Friday, or I won't because I'll be out with my homie Nas Illmatic. But why wouldn't you, booking wise, switch those two scenes, go off way higher to keep people invested to get to that, and then do an overrun of 5 minutes to eat in to AEW from people going from one show to the next with the highest spot? That move was not pulled. And think about what we lived through with the Monday Night Wars. How is that Cold War move where, remember, it started like 1 minute, 2 minute overruns. Sometimes we were up to 6 and 8 minute overruns to like go back and forth for the channel chain. That move not being made is very interesting to me. The way the show star power wise booked for WWE that could have eaten into them was not booked that way to hit them below the belt right out of the gate. I don't know, man. I feel like you and I are Cold War generals in this shit. How is that not getting done? And what does that say by not saying it?
Two-pronged question, but it either says, A, they don't care enough about AEW to even play that game.
I agree.
The other one, which might be a little more likely, so when we saw the overruns, those were on cable TV. That was on USA and TNT, Monday Night Wars. I don't know with network television such as Fox, with a tight programming schedule, like after Raw, we had like silk stockings or something like that. Yeah. And then after WCW, they just replayed the show. So there was no rush to get into any other programming. I had to figure at some point, but WWF had to pay X amount for their overrun. So I don't know if that's an option at Fox. To answer your first question then, Reigns and Cena opened, Bianca and Banks closed the show?
Yes, a contract signing that ends in a choke out on the table. Thanks.
So I saw the fight scene between those two. I didn't watch the show. I wasn't ready to be in the self-help group on Friday, so I decided to not watch it. My speculation on this is super easy. They wanted the early pop. They wanted as many people to tune in as possible to see John Cena, as opposed to the gamble of them getting disinterested in the show and then possibly the amount of viewers that could have watched John Cena change the channel or decided to go have sex, decided to go to the bar.
Let me just time out you though there too. They've got Edge and Seth Rollins in the middle of the show, bro, to end with the girls that are now not having a match. They've got the star power and the show's booked that way. And I agree that the ignorance that they don't think that they're over enough AEW, but I don't. Now with everybody who's a free agent and Punk coming and that's it, bro. Like you can't fight a war and have all that shit in your lexicon of fucking bag of tricks to pull and then not pull it with 2 fucking chances to play big money cards at the table where everyone goes, oh, you know what I mean? But they didn't, man. Is Gary Wolf onto something here?
Give me some Gary.
Pitbull, Gary Wolf.
You got a clip for me?
Oh, well, he says that McMahon, he says that McMahon owns AEW, that there's a conspiracy.
I don't believe that. But going back into history, right? So if you go through the entire history of Vince's WWF, he never acknowledged the competition, with the exception of saying Jerry Lawler and USWA a few times. Certainly didn't say they were competition. He just mentioned the organization. They did the same with Smoky Mountain to help Cornette promote. Same with ECW and that short-lived angle. And they never touched WCW until they did those Scheme Gene and the Huckster and Nacho Man.
They're not, right?
So he waited until they took Savage after Hogan had already gone, and the Savage one stung Vince personally, if you ever watch any of the material on it. But he waited until he saw the turnaround in the numbers and saw that Nitro was in fact, surpassing Raw. I think he's doing fucking Vince don't change his stripes, man. You know that. I think he's doing the same thing. He's like, fuck these kids. They don't know anything. Once he gets a hold of these ratings as they shift, if they shift, we're going to see those kind of tactics.
Okay.
So I got news for you, bro. Watching the show last night, which was, pretty good show overall. Some stuff we'll pick apart. But I just said to myself, once I saw them announce Chicago, I go, man, if Punk does come in and he comes in Chicago, they're going to overtake the ratings. Whether or not it's for a week or 2 weeks or a month.
But they're not, because it's on a different night. They need to be on a Monday. Now, I get it that they've got their schedule set, but until you go head to head, now you're firing big ammunition bullets, but you're not head to head, so it doesn't really mean anything. If you want to fucking speak. Actually, I do have a clip that is important for this.
You just a bitch made pussy. Let me tell y'all something. I can't stand a bitch made pussy. Can't stand her.
Hell yeah. Stevie TV.
They're still telling me to pump up the volume. I've got his fader all the way up. I'm not sure if you're even coming through that or I can hear the.
I don't know what's going on here.
There you go. That's how close I need you, because you're, that raspy, soft-spoken voice.
We haven't had this issue in months.
No, now you sound great, though.
All right, so I just got to lean in uncomfortably.
Yeah, for some reason you were just out of the cardioid pattern range.
Sorry, what were we talking about? We were on to some kind of brilliance there.
Just the back and forth of why they didn't pull the move. And, I think that's plenty of conspiracy talk of whether they are or not. But that's here and there, because Rampage was an hour long. It was great kickoff. They didn't get overrun and nothing happened to them that way. Wink, wink. But yeah, man, what would you think right out of the gate? Christian Cage, doing his thing.
Excellent. As I predicted last week, Cage would win the Impact title, and then he'll do the job to Kenny at the pay-per-view, and we'll see Christian on Impact, which is good for Impact. It might actually, I think, if you had a choice between Omega, who I think is one of the greatest wrestlers today, and Christian Cage impacting the casual viewer, I think Christian's going to have more impact. just because he's, known to the American audience way more than Omega is from 10 years ago.
Sure.
But as far as you were saying about the head-to-head, I don't necessarily look at it the same way. Like, so let's say Wednesday's Dynamite begins beating Monday's Raw decisively. I think that's going to have about the same amount of sting to it and the same amount of financial, resources coming AEW's way, just like it would if they were on the same night. I actually like that they're on the
I gotta stop you right there. It's not at all, Sil. I see what you're saying from one way, but that's not the true metric. The true metric is head to head, because if you go on Monday and have 1.4 million for Raw, and you go on Wednesday for AEW and do 2 million, 1.4 of those could be Raw viewers that have come over. So you don't really know, unless you're going head to head and saying, really pulling your audience of which are you going to watch, or you have multiple TVs on in your home and or devices now in the, when, as opposed to when we came up Attitude Era wise, but not like everyone didn't have 4 fucking TVs at that time either. But, you had to choose which to do, tape one and watch the other and fucking go back and watch it afterwards, what have you. But no, that unless they're splitting the audience and seeing who's really coming out on top, then that's not a true metric whatsoever, and who's more over.
I disagree to an extent with you on that. Like, let's say the Raw rating remains what it is, right? Let's say it remains 1.5. And then we see AEW start to do a 2.0. So we know that the same 1.5 that are watching Raw remained watching it, but nothing built on that. However, we see that 0.5 build on AEW that's clearly showing they have a broader audience. And for advertising purposes on a major station, I think it's a good thing. I see your point about it going head to head. That would be the true answer. But the businessman in me and the observer of wrestling history, I'm like, don't fucking go to head to head. That's where it's gonna die.
I disagree because of how weak Raw is right now. You got them on the ropes, bro. Now's the time to show up with Punk, with Daniel Bryan, new pipe bombs, better angles, using their guys that they made look shitty, like Big Show and Mark Henry, before they had meetings with McMahon and he told them they can go their separate way. Dude, there's a lot of people who I believe that Vince has got right in there as moles, speed dial wise, not even to start with Adam Cole, Britt Baker connection. Like, there's so much crossover, bro. But it
would be exciting. I'll give you that. I'd rather see it as a viewer.
Yeah.
As a historian of the business, I don't know. What they could do, if you want to get this metric, you know how they do their 4 shows a year or whatever, the specials like Bash at the
Beach on Monday.
Do them on Monday and beat the shit out of Raw. Put Daniel Bryan, Kenny Omega main event, draw 3.0.
I agree. That's the way. That's a great way to do it in a soft attack, right. and then you just hit them. You stay in the pocket. You keep your rating above theirs, and then when you get a chance to wallop them, you fucking do it, and then you get back and reset again. Keep beating them, come in and hit them again, and that's a good opportunity for Cold War strategy, bro. I like that. That's real.
Have you heard these NXT rumors about how Triple H may not have as much of the deciding power as he once had, and there's some scuttlebutt allegedly due to AEW winning the Wednesday Night War, whatever that was or whatever that means,
right?
And a dynamic shift coming in NXT programming, as well as getting rid of the older talent, blah blah blah. How do you feel about all that's being said? We haven't seen it in action right now about NXT.
I would agree with all that it's coming, but not for the right reasons by any means. So to break that down, Game having heat with the old man because he made him look bad, that I believe that's how a sociopath would act. I was watching John McAfee Gringo the other day, and he was doing kind of the same thing. Then what are they going to do? Go to taping, because why? NXT is a $100 million loss leader, and they were trying to scale that back to about 70 million. So getting rid of live events is what it is. And they've made them drink the Kool-Aid enough for them to say it. They think they believe it, that NXT is a third brand and not developmental. Wrong. It is developmental. It's completely developmental. So they've created a force field bubble around NXT stronger than any other WWE brand to make those kids all wound up. Then they have the tryout, and everyone's like, "Oh, the attitude was when Vince came down was all positive, and they it wasn't a nervous situation at all." Bullshit. Then that shows me how ignorant you are. If you think it's just a fun day and that it doesn't matter everything, you're truly drunk on the fucking Kool-Aid, bro, and sis, and that everyone's asshole should have been puckered fucking tight as could be over. And they also didn't know that it was coming. So they don't see themselves as how underprepared, that they really were for it. Then the other part is that they're cutting older talent and midgets and only want fucking big strapping 20 somethings.
We're back to 2008.
And what did that get us, bro? A bunch of fucking guys who can't get over, who just get signed because the money's thrown at them. And why wouldn't you? You can't blame them. You're not going to get anybody out of that's going to give you longevity. In fact, you're going to get guys that have mental issues like a Lars Sullivan or fucking Big Cass's issues. Like, not that those guys don't love wrestling. Yeah, not that they don't love wrestling. But if you're not a worker from the ground up and didn't come up in this shit and know how to handle yourself or been fucked over 15 ways a Sunday by indie promoters, and you're not truly in this, and you're just one of those NCAA cherry pick jobs, 98% of the time, it does not ever work out. They never capitalize on their investment, and that talent ends up being a liability and more trouble than they're worth, and an embarrassment to the fans that waste their time investing in these characters that never pan out. We fucking want people who are in their 30s and 40s, who do look like real men. Last night during that fucking American Top Team segment, you got Andre Arlovsky and Junior in there looking like murderers. And then we send out some phony wrestlers to do some phony punches, bro. Like, that's the fuck. And people are going, dude, this promo on AEW is awesome. I go, yeah, it takes a UFC guy who believes in wrestling to have the best promo on the show. We got a problem, B. And the fact that you got killers in there and you have the wrestlers jump them instead of letting Archer get to the ring and face Arlovsky and face down Santos before getting handled. That's that's what would have got him over, not bringing out Scorpio Sky and fucking Ethan Page. And I can't hate on those guys are doing their job, but now we got legit fighters we've seen kill guys and phony wrestling strikes in the same segment, as opposed to just like letting Murder Hawk come in and those guys grab them, chicken wing them, hold them, and then let Dan Lambert get the fucking shot on them. They didn't have to do anything to put themselves at liability, but bro, like that's the difference of what I mean. And we want an Andre Arlovsky, like, not to Horowitz myself, I could fucking say a bunch of dudes who are grown ass men that I like to see there. GGP, you, me, whoever the fuck, not these kids who still don't even know the footwork. They're doing Vader whips. They're fucking don't know how to lock up. They can't cut a promo. Then they get put through the ringer and they're told, oh, that promo was great because you hit the 30-second mark and the 10-second mark. They know nothing about character. They don't even have a passion for this business. That's what we want to go back to, because he just wants to build the World Bodybuilding Federation again. Wrong. So we're going from one bad mistake to an even worse mistake is how I'll close that one up. Everything should go back to OVW.
So I got my history cap on today while we're talking about all this. So you're 100% right with what you said about fucking Lambert and the American Top Team.
Thank you.
Historically speaking, there was a long time in pro wrestling where a wrestler was not considered seasoned or ready for the main event spot until the age of 35. If you don't believe me, look back at some of the biggest drawing cards in the history of the business. Wrestlers began to hit their prime around 35 into 40. There were those that made it all the way as long as 45. And in older days, it was not uncommon for wrestlers to reach 50, even 55, like you see Yuji Nagata and NJPW. Luthez being that odd exception that fucking wrestled over 7 decades and had a match at 70 years old. I don't advocate for that. But the point I'm making is, and Rip told us this 100 times, he said, boys, you don't get it until it's too late. Or once you start to get it, your body's already starting to go down. And I could relate to that. My last few years in the ring, I was at my best, shooting on all cylinders, because mentally I was there and I understood these nuances. So they are totally wrong in that. There's a reason. I didn't see whatever Monday Night Raw's main event was. I'm sure you did. But I guarantee you the Dynamite event with Chris Jericho against MJF at 48 years old was better than whatever fucking...
They went off the air with Bobby Lashley and Goldberg. Duck won the softest spear you've ever seen. It was a toothpick. It wasn't a spear. Fuck it. And then he gets his kid out of the crowd and they walk to the back. It was lame as fuck, bro. So lame. Jericho, after having some issues or criticisms or whatever with Hoovy in the beginning of their match, and then it went pretty well after they stopped doing the lucha fucking spinneroonie shit. This match was great. This was him hitting on all cylinders. I just didn't like the finish. We can talk about that when we get to it, but that's here nor there, man. But good talk up front. Numbers, and here's the thing. Got to go back to my original thing if we want to talk numbers and biz still. SmackDown was at a 2.0, which is down, even though they're like lauding it. They're up 14%. They're not. They're down over 50% from when they signed the original contract with Fox for $1 billion. So it's a false positive. So up 14% really means down 36%. And I don't know anybody who can have a job performance like that and keep their fucking gig. But anyway, the fact that they didn't go against them to hurt their numbers. How do you have 2 million people watching SmackDown and only 797 watching AEW? Seems like they should have been over 1 million at least, 797,000 for the first episode of Rampage. And they didn't really billboard that Punk's going to be on tomorrow. And here's one that I remember, bro. We're backstage, fucking Derby City Wrestling, one of the payoff shows. And we got Aaron the Idol Stevens on the fucking show, and he's joining Theta Lambda Psi, which was also, what was Beefy Brent Wellington's fucking name in WWE?
Brad Maddox.
Brad Maddox is in there. Professor Lumpy Magoo, the whole nine. We've been building this shit for a long time, and the crowd's into it. So Idol's there, and we sell out 4/5 of the house, like a pretty good draw. For the student Derby City show for sure. And then we had Al Snow as the big surprise. I'm a mark for Paul Heyman and I want to do the ECW shit. And fucking even Dinsmore is backstage because everybody wants to see this show or what have you. It was the Lucha Battle Royal, I think, was on that one as well. But we had Al, what does everybody want? And the crowd goes ballistic or what have you. I get to the back and Danny goes, get in here. He goes, why wouldn't you advertise? Because he didn't know about Derby. He goes, why didn't you advertise that Al was on the fucking show? We could have sold this place out. Now that's a promoter. Fuck your creative, bro. See those 25 empty seats over there? Why aren't those full? Because you were a mark for yourself and you didn't advertise your fucking big surprise to make sure it was full. There was empty seats in the upper deck last night. That arena is not full and sold out. They're going to Chicago and people might think one thing or another. But if you're doing 797,000 when you could have done 1 million or more, and then you have the whole next week and there's just internet buzz about the possible surprise, and if he shows up, all I can think of is there going to be a Danny there to go, come here. What the fuck are you doing? See all those seats up there? See the fact that you didn't ever see that we're not over 1 million? Why? Because you wanted to pop Meltzer in them? What is going on with your mind? Like, dude, I remember just like, if Danny's what, 5'5", 5 foot, I was 5'1" at that point, bro. Like I was just going down, 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 down. I thought because I thought I was up here because the crowd popped for the surprise, like they would. But I already got their money. I need those 25 fucking people, and we'll figure another way to pop the crowd on the surprise. But we need to sell these tickets and get these numbers up. What you? Go ahead.
What I love about that lesson for you was that Danny waited until it was done to tell you. He knew Al was on the show. He knew the lineup. It was posted on the fucking board. But he waited. He let you make that mistake so you would never make it again.
Yep.
And you probably haven't since.
No.
So I'm glad he got to do that. As far as the Punk and Rampage next week, I don't know. It's either a question of, is the audience going to tune in with the expectation that he's going to pop up? I think it was a strong show. So would you say it did 740,000 viewers?
797, I think it was.
So pretty good number off the bat, man.
But could have been over 1 million.
Could have been, yes. So I think that those that tuned in last week will be tuning back because it was such a good show. Then we have the Rumble that Punk could show up, so some of the more casuals. All I'm going to say is this, bro. I hate to say it, but Punk almost better show up because the lineup that they released for this Rampage was nowhere near the lineup and star power that we had on last week's show. Like,
gotcha.
I don't particularly want to see any of these matches, unfortunately, and I hate to say that.
Well, last night, they're so witty in their foreshadowing. Kenny Omega's got the Chick Magnet shirt on. Do you see that or no? So the CM, we're saying it without saying it. Somebody pointed out in the chat, and then I saw it too. But yeah, dude. So
you see the ad too for the center. What's it called? The one in Chicago, the United Center.
Oh yeah, United Center.
The ad where Darby's saying something like, "And even if you think you're the best in the world, the place to prove it is here." So.
Right. Yeah, man. It's an interesting time of moves not being made that speak louder to me than what is being done. I don't know. It's okay. So I hope you enjoyed that little wrestling scar. That was hard for me to even tell that story. I still feel terrible. And even though we popped the crowd and it was a great show, I got to the back and just fucking but that's why I am who I am today, man. So
more than you learn. I got a few other numbers in front of me here. I mean, it looks like last week's Dynamite had lost its million viewer streak, turning in at just under 1,979,000. I think this week was a strong show, and Rampage last week was a strong show. So I'm hoping when they come out, by the time we're done with the show, we'll be back at over 1 million. Anything to be concerned about with that 979?
I don't think it's to be concerned about. It's summertime, and it was a strong show. Like, everyone who watched it isn't going to go, fuck this shit. You know what I mean? They were doing good stuff, and this week followed it up. I thought it was 2 good weeks back to back, and I'd be the first one. I might nitpick and shit on a couple things that are amateur in a world of professionals, but they've been around for 3 years, like with no Jedi Master, no Rip Rogers for Tony Khan. And I love to watch the Bucks do what they do. Nick Jackson's in the zone. Matt looks like he's feeling healthy the way he was moving last night. I was very happy to see how
did that big dive to the floor. I was waiting to see what he was going to do when he climbed up there.
Even when he was getting in the ring and just fucking moving around, it just was like, all right, it looks like he's not in too much pain. So, but all my respect to those guys and what they've accomplished. How many TV shows did they write? How many TV shows did they direct? How many years did they do scene study? It's no disrespect, but that's what 3 years of a process of learning how to get it going, especially with kind of the hire your friends at the best price before the sharks come in to do this shit the way it should be done. that's just a part of it. And they kind of were burnt out, and hopefully now they can just worry about being characters a little bit more,
I think we're seeing that rejuvenation.
I do too.
Another interesting numbers note. Last week, the most viewed YouTube video was Big Show choke slams QT Marshall. That one having 1,116,376 views. Least viewed being Chris Statlander versus Nyla Rose at almost 94,000 views. Here's why I think that's interesting. Somebody said to me just very recently, man, fucking Big Show, I don't want to see him in the ring. I don't think it's a good idea for them to put him in the ring. And my response to that was they absolutely need to put him in the ring. If they're spending all this money on him to be a commentator or whatever, Big Show does not have to wrestle, and he should not wrestle often. Big Show should do a match or two, maybe 3 a year, somewhere around there. But at some point, we got to see him in the ring being Big Show. A, for the nostalgia pop for the hardcore fans that grew up watching him, and B, it's a worldwide name. There's a reason why over 1 million people watched that video of him choke slamming QT, because people have heard of the Big Show, and it's the first time he's done anything in an AEW ring physical. So as we'll go find out in the review, it turns out Big Show is going to have the match coming up here very soon.
Yeah, it was an interesting segment last night too, man, with him. We'll talk about that. But those are the numbers. Seems like they're after spiking up 12%, the fall off was about 4%. There's plenty that we could do if we were billboarding the right way to get the new audience to turn in, returning audience, and to really hit WWE where it counts. But like I said, no overrun from SmackDown with those fucking major players. Something's afoot here. It just doesn't sit right with me. So
we'll see where they go in the future, especially after Punk and Bryan may or may not show up. Before we get into our AEW review, let's take a couple minutes to talk some Rampage, man. Hell of a show, 3-match card, which I absolutely loved. 1 hour show. We opened up with Kenny Omega defending the Impact TNA title against Christian Cage. In the middle of that, we had Miro against Fuego del Sol, where if Fuego won, he would get an AEW contract. And then as the main event, in Britsburg, we had the good doctor herself, Britt Baker, DMD, versus Red Velvet in a pretty lengthy main event. What I liked about this show was we got 3 matches. I thought the first match was incredible. The second match, I thought Miro did a phenomenal job. It was a short segment, but Miro made it as good as it was going to be. The third segment, and we could break these down a little bit more because I'm sure you have some opinions. The third segment, it made sense for Britt to be in the main event because it's her hometown and the audience is there for her, blah, blah, blah. It just took them a while before they each got in the groove with each other. Like, I think the back end of the match got a lot better. But it took them a minute to feel each other out and get there. But overall, man, it was Dynamite without some of the bullshit that we complain about. The 2 segments done at the end of a match.
Yeah.
The odd promo here that doesn't belong. And I've been asking for months for them to do the goddamn fighter screens with one person on one side, one on the other. We had Mark Henry announcing it sports style. All right, we're about to get to the main event. We got the champion here on this screen, the challenger on this screen. You ready to do this? Britt says her piece. Velvet says her piece, and we get to the fight. The format was fucking A+. I thought it was great. It reminded me of the early UFC TV shows before UFC kind of got saturated, where you're like, fuck yeah, give me this fight. That's all we were getting were fights, and I loved it.
I thought the show was booked great as well. The girls went, that was too much time. You know what I mean? They could have had one little get-over match for like a Wardlow or somebody in there and shaved off 4 minutes, and I think their match would have been better. They did get it together at the end. Christian was A+ on his game, and drinking the Florida water B12 looks great, And what was the shit? What was the one
The
thing?
middle match, which was
Yeah.
excellent, was Miro against Fuego del Sol.
Yes.
What up, motherfuckers?
We got
It's
very vulgar genocide running in here. We're doing a quick recap of Rampage before we talk about Dynamite. So it was Miro against Fuego with Fuego's contract on the line where he would get signed. What was brilliant about this match, I mean, go back and watch it if you don't remember it, because it was masterful performance.
Masterful.
Everybody knew that Fuego had no chance of beating Miro. Miro's a wrecking machine. He's great, right? So the match starts. They're going to do their introductions. Miro had just gotten into the ring doing his pose. Out of nowhere, Fuego jumps the gun, gives him a big tornado DDT.
Yeah, they do work the 10 count on the outside.
Yeah, he sells up right to his feet. This time, Fuego jumps off the rope to give him an even bigger one. Miro's on his ass on the floor, and they almost get to 10, and Fuego's telling him to count. So myself and everyone watching go, holy shit, Fuego might beat Miro. And of course, Miro slides in at 10. He ends up catching Fuego, kick, stomp, finish. But it was so fucking well done. That dude knows how to put fucking smaller guys over. Arguably better than anyone in the business right now.
Yeah, for sure. Outquicked them right away and the fucking use the environment around him to knock him out and knock him down and work that count until he goes over strong. Big hope, only to take it away and get heat. Leave with your title, leave with your heat. Hope spot babyface return. Give him the.
He's gonna leave home to his hot wife.
Yeah,
and praise her.
Go on TikTok and blow it all.
What he said last night, like he dedicates his time in the day to serving God and at night to my hot wife. So good.
We did have a request
very creepy.
Recreate the Macho Man and Elizabeth picture on the beach with 8x10. So
Jenna mentioned that to me yesterday, that we had a request to recreate the Macho Man and Elizabeth beach scene.
Yes, I saw it, and I wrote back.
Oh, did you? All right.
I can't hear anything.
Just lean into the mic a bit more too.
She sounds great. You're always off to the side. I think that mic has a specific cardioid pattern to be straight onto it as opposed to an omnidirectional 360 pattern. That's the sound engineering degree coming out. But yeah, man, I thought this 1 hour was refreshing. It was, even though I was already burnt out, I watched just a little bit of it because I had some other production to do. But I was burn out after SmackDown and everything for the week. But man, it was a solid show for them. And we'll see if they deliver for Punk in 24 hours, man. Like, to not billboard it, like, makes me go, man.
Give me the update. I didn't watch, please.
So tomorrow is the second episode of Rampage.
Yeah.
And it's speculated, since in Chicago, this is going to be CM Punk's debut. The card that they announced for it last night, I don't feel is anywhere near as strong as the card last week that had Britt in the main event and Kenny and Christian. So the card is average at best. So it needs something big. So our question is whether or not Punk's going to show up to give it that something big that it needs.
Whatever happened to Daniel Bryan, though? I thought he was supposed to come too.
That's a possibility as well.
I think, well, they're back in Chicago in September. So and this is an asshole move too, because if it goes through the same thing, what if you were going to swerve and bring out Daniel Bryan tomorrow night and save Punk till the next time when they come back? But now you're just having Daniel Bryan as a surprise and not billboarded. That's a fucking huge nuclear weapon to drop when you have that opportunity. So we haven't even heard talk of DB yet, as opposed to that, but I wouldn't put him past it to do it and make the same mistake that I did, having two top talents and not billboard them to make sure the house is fucking packed and that the ratings as high as it can be, all for the ECW Paul Heyman pop. But Heyman already had his building sold out, so he could bring in whoever he wanted to because he wasn't running massive fucking arenas, right? So it'll be an interesting thing. And if they don't bring either of them out, that's going to be a big burn job on the audience, bro. So they've kind of already made a mistake in how the approach is for the execution.
They better give him a hell of a dark match main event if Punk doesn't show, or Brian. Let me ask you this. This afternoon, if CM
You
Punk...
better have the return of Jesus to tag with fucking Miro. That's about the only thing they got left after that.
It's an option. So let's say at 4 p.m.
Just Lana's coming back. Sorry, guys.
There you go. 4 p.m. this afternoon, we see a video on CM Punk's Twitter feed of him rolling his bag in. You see his face. Then it pans up and shows the United Center. Do we have 1 million viewers, aside from that 790, tune in between finding this out at 4 p.m. and it happening at 10 p.m.?
Maybe, but that feels like the last attempt, to be honest with you. Like, it doesn't feel like as much viral marketing to me as a last minute solution. Will it help and will the internet go crazy for it? Yeah. Will it get trending? Yes. And maybe I'm incorrect. And if that is the viral solution to it, that the window from billboard for a week and make sure everybody's talking about it the whole time, as opposed to 5 hours before and stooge off the surprise via that and get the viral shit going. I don't know, because the only way to maybe really test that would be to do it there and then billboard Daniel Bryan for a week and see which does better numbers side by side that way, because they're pretty much equal draw.
That would be my solution to all of this, is to have something so the people know, fucking turn your TV on.
Yeah.
Would they put for the main event? I know every promo last night talked about promoing to Rampage. What's the main right now?
The main event is Jon Moxley versus Daniel Garcia.
I mean, it's Moxley over. Punk walks out and faces him.
Yeah.
That's it, right? I mean, what else are you?
The little boy in socks?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just Daniel Bryan coming to do it to Swerve, but I think you're in Chicago. If you don't do it with the build, it's going to be a fucking sad trombone day.
And man, I hope somebody was listening last week and capitalizes on our Cabana Punk angle.
Yeah, it got some buzz. Cabana didn't like it, but I know it probably got to him. But I don't like this, but he didn't, respond on social media. But that's how he does his thing. That's fine. But yeah, dude, that's where the real big money is after the, they do Moxley, they do Omega, you do the little dream booking for the ROH and PWG crowd, and then the big money is him versus Cabana, no doubt. We'll see what numbers they do, and we'll see if our good buddy Charles shows up. So to get into AEW Dynamite, we start off with Moxley and Kingston getting jumped in the back by 2.0 after they cut their little promo that seemed like kind of tongue-in-cheek. I'm calling out. Dude, 2.0 gets the shine right out of the gate working with Mox and them. So this was, I thought, a good decision. And coming through the crowd, starting hot that way, instead of the same old shit. You know what I mean? And then Stinger and Darby come out to help, and it's a big street fight. And then I popped because at one point it happened so fast. Kingston fucks off with the one kid. I can't remember his name. That's with 2.0.
Garcia, the one that
Garcia. Dude, he just grabs him and like pulls him back out of the shot into the darkness, and it was like, whoop, there he goes. Like, that was it. We didn't see nothing else after that. But then Darby comes in and, does the flying jumps and walks the balance beam. That was a pretty cool little visual there, looking cool and whatnot. But, this match was okay until we get to one spot, and then I lost my fucking mind.
I have in my mind which spot this is, and I like the spot, but tell me what it was.
The double stinger splash.
The fucking power bomb through the table, and Sting gets right the fuck up and puts it on him right there, bro. I don't care about hulking up.
You didn't like it?
Fuck no.
It's so Sting. He can do it.
A chop or a punch. A power bomb is one of the biggest moves there is. A power bomb through a table is fucking, you can't go any bigger than that through it unless you go through a flaming table or a ladder. And then to just get up and fucking do that. Like if you're punching him and he fucking no sells one and does that, or chop and fucking, okay, I'll let you have your shit there. That is wrong, ridiculous, and inexcusable, and exposes wrestling as fake as fuck in the middle of the match, bro. I would have, if he would have came back and I didn't know about that as an agent, I would have fucking fined Sting in front of everybody.
Traditional wrestling psychology
He said fine Sting.
says you are 100% correct in that assessment.
But it's Sting.
The way you learn in wrestling school and from great trainers is to not do things like that. However, in the ridiculous world that is pro wrestling, and with Sting having the aura, or even Undertaker, that he does, I was cool with it, and I actually popped for it.
We loved it.
Yeah.
We vote yes to Sting.
It was wrong. I tell all my students don't do that spot, but I still liked it.
It was shit, and you're laughing because you know it's fucked now that you know you're caught.
It was great though.
But he's a legend. It's fucking Sting.
No way. No way. Just do the classic one and then get your heat on and put him down, or don't do it. Tease it like you're gonna fucking do whatever, and he does something to get out of it and fucks him over. But to bury wrestling in reality like that, we're done. We're done.
If I could complain about anything from that, it would have been the finish being the double scorpion. I like that he did the double scorpion. I think it's cool that he got that in.
Sure.
But to be the finish and have them both tap out, Sting didn't need that. I would have much rather seen double sharpshooters from him and Darby.
Yeah, I was gonna say have him and Darby do it facing each other and have them both like tap out.
And the one dude from 2.0 is so charismatic as he comes through the camera incredibly, man. I really like those guys, and they did a good job here. But as soon as they would have come through, I'd have gone $1,000, Sting $5,000. Fucking, I want it on my desk by the time you guys leave.
Hey, what 90s tag team was 2.0 dressed exactly like last night?
Where was it? Nasty Boys?
Yes, that's the first thing. I go, why are they dressed like the Nasties? What's up with this?
Well, Knobs is sick too, real bad. So yeah, there's a GoFundMe for like 20 grand. They're up to about 14,000 now. He's got to have knee replacement, and he's carrying a lot of extra fluid in his stomach and just not healthy. So
Big man.
Yeah. Who partied for a long time. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It sounds like liver issues, and then when that happens, you start retaining all that fluid. So yeah, I hope he kicks out, man, as nasty as he wants to be.
That's right. Overall, psychology debates aside, I thought this match was fun as hell. And after the 3 count, when you looked into the audience, the buzz was there and they were having fun. And to me, that's what a great wrestling show and great wrestling TV is all about.
Yeah, I agree with that. It was just that one spot that made me want to punch a hole in the fucking wall.
Sonic, I agree with you 100% on that comment. This man right here has been long outspoken against Sting, according to him, since the 90s, when everyone else was down with Sting and down with NWO for life.
I thought it sucked. I thought he always sucked, to be honest with
you. And
bite your tongue, sir.
Dude, here it is. He stole Bret Hart's offense. He stole Ric Flair's offense. Couldn't come up with his own woo, so he's took the other woo. Couldn't get over like the Ultimate Warrior, even though he had all the face paint and the same shit in the same way, with everybody putting him over while he was green, with phony punches, mad botch spots, nothing really that impactful until he gets to Bret Hart shit. Then the Crow comes out, so he has to take that from Brandon Lee to reinvent himself and only stand there with a baseball bat because he's not really good in the ring at offense and anything along those lines. Everyone's great at character, but as competent as me footwork wise and getting shit done. And I know I suck, so I know when I see it. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much his entire career. And now based off of nostalgia.
To be fair, Sting did this Scorpion Deathlock before Bret Hart did the Sharpshooter. And K-Dog,
how is it even possible?
Bret didn't start using the Sharpshooter as a finish till he became a single star. The second time around, they tried in '89 to split them up and have Bret go babyface. At the time, Bret was using a pile driver as the finish. But once he started getting that push, he needed to finish. That's when Conan was there
That was
for a
when
brief time.
Sting had a skateboard then. He wasn't even doing nothing like that.
No, bro. Sting was main eventing against Ric Flair in '89.
Shit.
Ask the historian.
Yeah, I told you I'm in history mode today. So, but yeah, fucking fun match. Will you agree with me that it was fun and the crowd enjoyed it?
I do, and I
thought it was a great lead off to the show.
Mm-hmm. Except for the fucking powerbomb.
Except for the powerbomb. When we have our match, you're gonna put me through a table. I'm gonna pop right up and spear you.
Yeah.
Don't
I bet
know.
you
No.
won't. I bet you won't.
It'll be genocide before you.
That you're going
I'll
right
take
back
it.
down to the ground.
Double down.
Double down. No, if I got powerbombed through a table, I ain't getting back up.
No.
I'd be like, ow.
Here's the first thing I'm going, who wants to powerbomb me through a table? You're not over enough. No, we're not doing that spot. So what else you got? That's the first thing.
Yep.
Maybe Congo Kong, I'd let me powerbomb me through a table. That's about it.
You take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did the move on this splash, and I took that, and that was fine. What else, man, was next here after?
I know the next match had a same hot start, and I was pissed that they did two hot starts back to back.
I said the same thing too, dear. Absolutely. But before that, this kind of got me heated too. And I hate to hate on love because you guys are great at showing what a great relationship and fun you guys have. But this bringing of civilian wives into the ring and now doing the indie fan, I'm going to propose to you in the ring spot. That's one of the most cheesiest things. I've been a part of two of them in at indie shows from fans. And now a wrestler's doing it after we had John Cena do it. And that fucking should have been his heel turn. He should have healed on her there. But that relationship that went absolutely terrible. Sammy Guevara, what's his nickname?
Spanish God.
Isn't El Sexico or something like that?
Gods. Late sex gods were him and Jericho.
Late sex gods, huh? And now you're a 24-year-old dude who looks like Tom Cruise that all the girls want to bang, and half of the fucking AEW fans, with whatever pronoun they've chosen this week, want to bang. But you're gonna fucking let's bring Sarah Beth from next door, the girl next door, to do a proposal. I'm sure she's a lovely young lady. I'm sure he loves her. You just took all the shine off your fucking self and made yourself.
Yeah, because if he was gonna have that swagger about him, you keep that stuff in private. You know what I mean?
Yep. He just fucking took he took 70% of his money and lit it on fire for a fucking mark out indie spot.
Like they always compare him to like Eddie Guerrero and stuff, and that swag. But once you get old wifo in there and do that, like you kill the persona.
Just killed it in a spot that should be celebrated as something great. Congratulations. And I got to say the same thing. I said this in the locker room today. Bronson Reed wins his big phony ass North American title at NXT in the cage match, the big payoff. Who's it come? I'd like to thank my wife for 14 years. She worked 2 jobs while I did all this carny shit. Okay, the focus is on the wife. Is anybody going to come out and choke out the wife? No? Okay. Wife's over. You're not. You won the match, but there's the fucking focus at the end. What happens fucking 3 weeks later?
You're fired.
Looks like my wife's going to have to get a 3rd job because I just got released.
Oh,
I mean,
that was rough.
I'll agree with you to an extent on this one. If they had to say, I wouldn't have shown the proposal. If it happened, leave it dark and leave it there.
It should have been. No one wants to say it. That shit should have been dark.
Yeah, but anyway,
dude, no wrestler who's one of the boys should be doing the Mark fan spot of I want to propose in the ring,
especially to a non-wrestler.
And Cena should have done the whole thing, no ring inside, healed on Nikki right there, and fucking gotten his heat on her verbally, left her crying, bro.
Is that how they got proposed? They did it in the ring?
SummerSlam, I think. But the solution,
not memorable enough for me to remember.
I've been creating solutions all day. So the solution to this, if they had to talk about this engagement, it just should have been a quick mention on commentary. Hey, we just want to say welcome back, blah, blah, blah. Congratulations. Sammy Guevara just got engaged. Good luck to you, Sammy.
You don't. The whole thing is I am Tom Cruise, sexy chicks young chicks, MILFs, they all want to bang me.
Nothing about that segment was sexy. Read between the lines.
Mm-hmm. And to put it over that this guy is the one that they want to bang. Now you're taking all that away. That's his money.
Tell me what's better.
That's his money.
Tell me what's better. Them doing what they did and showing the proposal and showing him and her together before, after, and during the match, or simply saying, congratulations, Sammy Guevara getting engaged last weekend and moving on.
Shouldn't say that
Which
at all.
One is better?
None of them. None of them.
But like, that's like, okay, you want me to cut off 4 of your fingers or 3 of your fingers?
Yeah, sometimes you gotta learn to wipe with 3 fingers.
Oh, there you go, right? Like that's the fucking the way it is. It shouldn't have been done, referenced at all, and they should keep that in their civilian private life and hold that true instead of making one little moment that now just lowered this guy's stock price from $1 million to 200,000, because that's
I'd say it lowered it a bit.
Yeah.
And I think they just did it to tell a little bit of a story in that one match. I don't think it's going to be part of an overarching story.
No, I think he was in his home turf of Texas, and she was there, and his family was there, and that's why.
The bloody kiss at the end was gross.
That was ew. His knee had cut open Spears, and then he got blood on him. One, it looked like he got his period, so I was laughing and giggling like a little girl, and like, haha. And then he went to kiss his wife, and then after they did the close-up of her, the blood was on her mouth.
Oh, I missed that. Oh.
I did, and that shit was gross.
I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you did.
I would have been like, ew, babe, get away from me.
You'll appreciate this one, Hamin. A couple years ago, Jenna and I went to support Mercedes Martinez and watch her in the Mae Young Cup. And one of the matches was Rachel Ellering versus someone. I can't remember who. And Ellering is married to or
was, I don't know.
Was or girlfriend of Chris Hero, Cassius Ohno, right?
Okay.
So he was seated front row. He was on NXT TV. He was seated front row, and Ellering does her match. Hero stands up, starts clapping, standing up, and we're waiting like for that moment, like Sammy did with his bride last night. Ellering completely kayfabes him. Heels out. She was babyface during the match.
Did he put it over? Did Hero go like, "What the fuck"? Like,
no, it was just awkward for everyone probably in the stands, and we were just there like, ooh.
Usually Hero would get mileage out of that, but
so because the rest of the night when we were at the Mae Young Classic, like any woman that was wrestling, like if her man was a worker there and a talent, then they would be in the crowd. At the time, Britt Baker did like the opener for that Mae Young Classic. She did the opener, and like Adam was out there and they did a little kiss at the end too. So like they kept bringing people out, and then they got there, and then it was like a whoopsie, just right by.
At least she didn't go and kiss somebody else on the way out. That would have been even worse, right?
But you know how you are with match mode. I don't even notice like people in the audience. I would probably like not even see you or something when I'm in that mode.
No. What we're gonna have you do is break up with your boyfriend on live TV. He doesn't know it's coming.
What do you say? Say it again.
I said what we're gonna do is have you break up with your boyfriend on live TV, but he doesn't know that it's coming. You're gonna go over there and kiss Dexter Loomis. That's
So what'd you think of this match? It had some craziness to it, but I like those two together.
Dude, I mean, this was the Spears I want people to see. People were like, even hit me up like, what do you think of the choreographed shit where they jump the top rope? That didn't feel choreographed to me. Like,
no, I enjoyed it.
It's a big spot. It didn't feel like 1, 2, go, bro. It was up, up, up. Oh, shit.
It was up. Look at you. Flick you off. I'm going to go, bitch.
Boom. Right. And it was really, really fucking good.
Not only that takes a lot of talent to both balance up there and do that shit and then do a cutter from that, please. Anyone who shits on that can kiss my metal ass.
I agree. That's where wrestling in the phony world of stunt show, as opposed to getting powerbombed through a table and fucking standing up.
You won't get off.
That I like, because that is the agreement with the audience that we're great entertainers and we're going to do something live.
Sorry, I got to go.
Go have a good
Love
day.
You guys. You're the best.
Genocide, you guys. Follow
and that was a badass match. I liked it.
There you have it. For context, excuse me, Guevara and Spears are on the outside apron trying to battle their way to the top rope.
Right.
They punch each other, and at the same time, they each springboard to the top and are surprised to see the other person there. Great timing on that. Like you said, it didn't look choreographed. It looked like phenomenal timing.
And what I love about it is that is the agreement that why wrestling is can be argued as a higher art form than any other type of stage arts, to be honest with you.
I'm down with that.
Because you make an agreement. Improv is very similar, even though we're not going out. They knew they were going to do that spot. Improv, we don't know if we're in the moment. We can fall. There's no net. There, they can literally fall, no net. They could have jumped up, smacked heads. Somebody gets color on accident. Everyone looks stupid. The timing was right. You only get one chance to do the fucking awesome shit, to get up, to get the flip off moment. Like everything has to be there in the stunt show and performed properly and safely. And they nailed it right there, bro. And when you do that, the audience is like, even though their suspension of disbelief is working, that's kind of operating at the highest point of that in the physical part of this, only to get to a moment of character. Physical. Wow. Character. Wow. He even fucking gets the entertainment in. That was very good. And my hat's off to him, bro. Then big fucking stunner kick out.
Off the top rope. They're both standing on the top rope. And
Dude.
Fucking Sammy Guevara does a super
Yeah.
off the top. It looked great. But yeah.
And then fucking 630 fucking kick out. Puts him on, well, he fucking Death Valley driver onto the railing, across the railing, devastating. Then goes in, hits a 630, whatever, kick out until we go into what was
Did you see how he landed that 630 as well?
Yeah, dude. It was stiff.
He landed right on homeboy.
Yeah, it was stiff.
Yeah, and then he pulls off his knee pad to give Spears 3 V-trigger like knees. One of them apparently busted Spears open.
Right.
And then he gave him his, whatever he's calling his finish. It's
go to hell.
Go to hell, yeah. Boom, the flip over knee from the.
And that was it. So he puts over Punk's finish, which also made me go, aha, right? Like you're not kicking out of this because Punk's gonna come do it. So let me establish it real quick and get it over. This was one of my favorite Shawn Spears matches, but I was kind of hot at it too because of the whole time I'm kind of going, Spears going over here, bro. Because to be honest with you, Spears gave him way too much, man. Like Spears needed to be, if Sammy was going over, especially with the go to hell, it should have been an out of nowhere slip, turn, get him, whoop, boom, and that's enough to beat him. Sammy hit him with 3 different kitchen sinks, and Spears kicked out. That's a babyface keep alive. That's not a heel fucking thing. So the psychology, even though the moves and shit were clean and cool, the psychology of this and the finish doesn't line up for me, bro. Not at all. And he's got the big babyface moment up top by doing the proposal thing. It's more heat for Spears to go over and beat the newly engaged guy there. I don't like this finish, bro.
After Spears hit his C4 Death Valley driver off the second, and Sammy kicked out, and then Spears later kicked out of the spot we just mentioned with the Death Valley driver onto the guardrail, then Sammy 630.
Yeah.
I said the same thing. I go, fuck, Spears is going to go over. Fuck, finish is happening somehow.
Yeah.
But we didn't get it, and that's where we should have gotten. I think they just want to be so not WWE, that beats the guy in their hometown. But there was a way to do it with so many moving parts of the Pinnacle where Sammy would have been just as over and got fucked over and now had sympathy.
Yeah. Tully with the spike pile driver made me laugh my ass off. That was fucking funny in the beginning too. I like this match, but I hate the psychology because I have to go back and look at it. And like 2/3 of the way through, I'm thinking Spears going over because of how much he's taken. And then he doesn't. I go, dude, why did Spears give him that much? Because when I say I don't like the finish, it's not I hate your finisher and shit like that. I don't like the choice because of what the match led us up to. And we're waiting for this payoff that's, people can say it's classic wrestling. It's for a reason. It's in Shakespeare and everything else. It's the human id and psychology that makes us exhale and go, oh, that was worth it. Or, oh, I really want to hate this guy. A babyface beating the shit out of a heel doesn't give us the biggest over for the babyface at the end. And now the heel gave him too much and doesn't have any heat. Even though it all looked cool, it wasn't the right story at the end for what they had told up to that point. So that's what I mean. I don't like a choice in a finish, not the finisher. The guys are the way they delivered it, because I really liked the action in this match.
Yeah, we love Spears. Sammy's a great young performer. We've been saying since day one of the show, Sammy's going to be the fucking man one day, and probably pretty soon. Just they could have went a couple different ways for the finish, like we said. But one fact is, his homeboy Sean Spears needs a new finish. He was using the Death Valley Driver, which he does very well. I've seen a lot of people kick out of it. Last night, we just saw Sammy kick out of it off the second rope. So if the second rope version can't beat a cruiserweight wrestler, we got to get Spears something else. I know he tried the black glove thing for a while. I don't know what that is, but I think Spears is great. Let's come up with the new finish for Spears and get him some strong wins, so it means more when he puts over Sammy Guevara.
I agree with that, man. Backstage, Tony talks with Christian Cage about his win over Kenny. Callis comes in, say he gave Christian his first big break back in the day. Callis saying, man, won with the help of the chair, but anyways, he's finally going to get that 5-star match he's always wanted. Don says nothing's changed. He makes big moves, and Christian is still wrestling matches. Christian says Kenny already lost one title to him, and he's in Kenny's head. It all out. He's going to take the most prized possession. Christian finishes by saying Callis thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, but he's always going to be a carny piece of shit. Good pop there. And I also like that Callis put over the powder blue jacket. Nobody really got that it was a reference to Vince McMahon's stand back jacket, or what he used to wear on commentary, the powder blue.
Right. I didn't even get that.
Yeah, so I do, because I love that jacket, and I love that. That's one of my favorite.
Do you own one?
What's that?
Do you own one? Do you own?
No, I don't have. I need to get a stand back. I got a goddamn powder blue on.
Let's change that.
Yeah. Last week I got dark blue, gray, and black. Last week, video packages highlighting Dante Martin's skills against Kenny Omega and the Bucks. Martin says he took the AEW champ to the limit one more time. While he's young, he's going to learn how to keep rising up the ranks. And Dante Martin will be a name everybody knows. Good. He's getting a promo off the shine of the match to revisit it, to keep him relevant, because we can't use him this week. And that's a good little spot, because if you do something like that and then not have him on TV the next week, that's a mistake, because we have to restart the guy all over again. So somebody got in Khan's ear. We've stopped this run-in shit at the end of matches, and it's being replaced by this. That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
He's clearly not a great promo yet, but the business of this promo was good. Your interpretation, I mean, what was the business of that promo? And then I'll give mine.
That he's still hungry and he's gonna keep fighting with everything he's got to get a shot, and it'll put him in. Even if he loses, he can face guys like Miro and show that he's got Lionheart potential, and the crowd will get behind him that way.
I got that too, but more importantly, the few lines that he said showed his development of how he's going to learn from this and get better. That's how you get a young, fresh talent in. I book this way all the time. You have them start with some losses, and you show week by week them getting better. The commentators put it over. I thought he did a great job just in those few seconds he had of saying, I didn't think I was capable of doing this. Now that I did, I'm going to try even harder next time. And I'm going to slip along the way, but I'm going to learn and get better each and every week. So I thought the business of that was spot on. Now we get him a promo coach and get him a good nutritionist and personal trainer, and we got something with that dude, because he's a fucking hell of an athlete, man.
Sure, man. I'm available for one of those 3 jobs. In the ring, Tony Atlas's American top team, Dan Lambert. Lambert says, "Has jumped Tony Atlas." I say that.
Yeah.
He's the son of Arn Anderson. Has jumped across the cancel culture train after AEW sent out Lance Archer to punch him in silence. And Lambert says this time he's brought back up, like we said, with Junior Dos Santos and Andre Arlovsky looking like badass killers, man. I love that visual. Here's one thing I was going to say about Rampage that I've forgotten, and it kind of applies to this promo. So Lambert is passionate about wrestling, has tons of like original titles, like has spent a lot of money on the real titles, like he has, not replicas and shit like that. And and he's watched wrestling his whole life, and he wants to cut great wrestling promo and shoot, and he does. But as a scene study guy and an actor, he's holding all of his tension with his arms crossed while he's trying to get it out instead of moving and whatnot. And that's fine to some degree, but his voice is very high and like screamy, you know what I mean? Like, I gotta get this out. Come on, baby. It was, a little bit mouth of the South, which wasn't too bad. But then, dude, on Rampage, and super respect to both of them, Mark Henry and Jericho. Jericho was doing the same thing, screaming the whole time on commentary, kind of not doing his best. And Mark Henry wants to be Daniel Cormier, but he doesn't have that charm. I mean, not that Mark Henry isn't charming and funny and good to be around. It just doesn't come through that way. And either that's something we need to really focus on with him, but I don't know, even with a lot of practice, if you're going to be able to get that, if he's best suited for that job. We're now putting guys who are ex-talents that we paid a lot to put them in spots to help try and get guys over. And really it's hindering the storytelling and it's making people aware of how not good they are at that spot because they haven't been trained for that. You know what I mean? Just because you're a name doesn't mean you're trained to sit there and do commentary. That's a very important job in the storytelling. And now if we're going back and forth and botching some things or going into biz for ourselves, we've taken away from the match that's in the ring. And I thought I hate to say this, but I feel like both those guys took away from some of the stuff on Rampage as opposed to adding to it.
I noticed what you were saying about Jericho early on, because as soon as he spoke for the first time, he was doing his Jericho yell, baby. I don't know why he made that choice, but I enjoyed him throughout the show. Mark Henry, I flip-flopped. There were moments where I said, okay, I really like Mark in this role. And then there were moments where I was like, Mark needs some more seasoning.
Yeah.
For him, I think it's a matter of reps because he's good on Busted Open Radio and he knows his shit.
Yeah.
But what they need to define their roles. Mark Henry needs to be the analyst that tells you what the move feels like and talks about weights and weight training. So when Brian Cage is in the ring, Mark Henry can be speaking about what Cage does in the gym to get his biceps to look the way that it does. When somebody gets super kicked, Mark Henry needs to say, I've been on the receiving end of that from Mr. WrestleMania 50 times. That'll take your jaw and put it in the next Tuesday. Let Jericho be comic relief and color guy. Let fucking Excalibur be play-by-play.
And that's what Daniel Cormier is in UFC. And he is fucking great with Rogan. And then we need to find someone to help play off him that way. They were really searching for any chemistry there. And like I say, massive respect to both those guys, but it just fucking, but that was like one thing that where people were like, Dan Lambert's screaming at me, but what he's saying was hilarious, dissing the crowd, living at home, and they're hard up, you know what I mean? And all that shit. And the crowd, that was the biggest reaction of the night from a guy who's not even on the roster, bro. That's something we need to worry on. So out comes Archer as the open challenge there. Never makes it to the ring, gets jumped by Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. Phony ass wrestling punches and kicks. Really, really bad. And when we have Arlovsky and Junior there to do something, and we didn't get any of that. This started awesome, ended wrestling phony.
Yeah, it was lame. And we're fans of both Scorpio and Ethan Page. They're fans of the show. Not a knock against him. Just the booking was dumb. You had Lambert cut this fiery promo with the two badass fighters in the ring. Archer comes out to answer the challenge and immediately gets jumped by two guys that are clearly not as imposing as the two men in the ring. I kept expecting, like you thought Spears was going to go over, I kept expecting Archer to come up and double choke slam or something and hit the ring, and then we get whatever's going to happen. But this segment was not designed to get Archer over at all. I assume they're building.
They could have. Let me run this by you and see what you think. They fucking out comes Sky and Ethan to get him. Fucking Archer gets over on them, has them rock and reel and going for a double choke slam. Turns his back on Arlovsky and Junior. Junior feeds out. Before he gets those guys up, comes up behind him, puts them in the choke that way, and fucking chokes them out. That way, we're not getting a ton of violence on them. Those heels get away, and Arlovsky can fucking, be there guarding Dan, what have you.
Beautiful. I love it.
Okay.
But there's no part of this segment. I'm assuming they're building heat to later get Archer over on one of Pager or Ethan or Sky, sorry. But no part of this segment was designed to make Archer look good, which I think was a mistake. Lambert's promo was good. It wasn't as good as the last one. But let me ask you this. The first promo he did, was it in front of a live crowd or was it?
Yes, it was in front of a live crowd. He killed it then too.
I think it was because there were so many people there last night and maybe he couldn't hear the microphone and he's jazzed up. I think that's why we got the screaming out of him.
It wasn't even that bad, to be honest with you.
It was not. It was still a great promo, but I noticed he wasn't as cool and chill as the first one.
Yeah, I see when actors hold tension, bro. You can see right where it is, man.
And I wanted more of the stuff. Like when he went to the cancel culture and stuff, like I don't want to hear about the politics and I want to hear what you think about why AEW sucks. That's what made the first promo so good. And yes, he related cancel culture to all of that. And then he started on why AEW sucks, but was cut off by the Archer thing. Like I would have let him continue that same promo that he was doing the first time about,
dude, if you were
like Briscoe and Funk and blah, blah, blah.
You want it? I mean, it's right there. Why aren't you putting together a group that Dan Lambert funds called Cancel Culture with Stevie Richards, with Max Caster, with fucking, give me another one. Somebody. So who's that? Enzo Amore.
Big Cass.
Big Cass. There's your squad, bro. You know what I mean? To go in and just fuck things up because Dan Lambert says so. And when Dan Lambert's not there, Stevie runs the fucking show. It's good. It's totally believable.
If they can't afford Dan Lambert, I'd find a way to afford him more often. You don't got to be on TV every week. Give him at least every 6 weeks.
Whatever.
You know, can talk, man. Better promo than most of the roster.
Yeah. Yes. And a man, not a 20-year-old. Backstage, Jericho cuts a good promo about the past 4 weeks of labors of Jericho, but in the end, it's gonna be Jericho up and my jerk off friend down, MJF.
New shirt.
Yeah, the new rock and roll shirt, looking like a 80s rock legend, and that's what he wanted, and I thought this was good. We get Bucks with Brandon Cutler, the Good Brothers, and this Nakazawa and Callis versus Jurassic Express with Marco for the tag titles. Probably the best Jurassic Express match they've had. They were there for everything. This is a Young Bucks style match. The Bucks know their matches. They have about 5 or 6 different matches that they use that they plug guys in to shine them the right way. And it was good from the Meltzer drivers, the chair, even Omega comes down to take out Marco's stunt, give him the chair, it gets reversed into a big fucking Snavitz, but then
that was a playoff for Rampage too last week because that's how Omega lost. Matt Jackson slid the chair to Omega, and Christian ended up hitting the kill switch. Go ahead, continue.
And it looks like that Luchasaurus is going to go up here for a minute, man. They're really going. I'm surprised how little they shined Jungle Boy in this. I thought it was Lucha Dog that shined most in this. Nick gets thrown out to the ramp. JB knocks down the Elite members off the apron. Luchasaurus with a moonsault on a couple of them. And that was cool because Nick kind of ran right by while that was happening to be in position. It made it look more real, like, oh, shit, I'm not getting hit with that. And fucking the other guys get taken out. JB with the backslide. Matt fights out of it. They come out and break it up. BTE trigger 1, 2, 3 on Jungle Boy. So Jungle Boy, taking the downside here. Another weird Jungle Boy thing this week. I don't know why you would say this, and this is more kind of being young and ignorant to where your money is. And him being the sexy, silent Dylan McKay type is fine. But he said, I really hate doing promos. It's one of the things I'm not good at, and I don't want to, like, you don't talk about your weaknesses. You kayfabe your weaknesses. You hide them and make whatever it is your strength if you know that's your weakness. Well, and even if it is a weakness, that means you need to work on it more, not just say I don't like having the opportunity to speak. If you got sex appeal, you're going to have to fucking be a baby face that cuts the promo. You have to get better at it. And especially if your dad was a fucking veteran actor in Hollywood, there's plenty of people that I'm sure would be willing to reach out and help you just on his memory alone, who are phenomenal talents that would help bring a performance out and make you feel more comfortable. And I hate to say this and do the guilt thing, your dad would want you to. He'd want you to work at your craft. He'd want you to become a better actor. He challenged himself. He had some good movies after 90210 before his passing, you know, like that to me, I don't like when performers say, I don't like doing something, as opposed to framing that up as, you know, I really feel like I'm getting it in the ring, but I don't feel like I'm getting it with my promos. I want to get better. So I'm taking this class and I know I'm going to get better and I'm working hard at it, as opposed to, I just don't like to do that. Well,
Where did he say this?
it was in an interview last week.
Okay, so it wasn't like a tweet or like a video.
No.
All right, that's a little better. Still, I agree. You shouldn't say that, but it's a little better. But
That's
think about
being a kid.
Going back to history too, man. Like if we think about Bret Hart, right? Bret was a guy that was not known for being a promo guy. In '97, Bret Hart won promo of the year or heel of the year for his anti-American USA versus Canada. And all of Bret's promos, like you and I always say, because he was bringing so many truths to the promo in between the wrestling bullshit, they were great. He was confident as ever, and he was the biggest heel in the company. So, like, you don't have to be this eloquent speaker and have a knack for it. It's great to develop those skills, but just a basic pro wrestling promo, if you're believing what you're saying and it's real, like if he just cut a promo about what his dad meant to him and how his career now is all about making the family name proud and doing whatever he can, he's going to get as much raw emotion out of that as possible. Then for the last 10 seconds, just direct it to whatever the phony wrestling is. So Kenny Omega, when I wrestle you next Friday, you're going to see exactly what I've been working on for the last 6 years.
Love it. That's exactly a character promo that is the truth. That's undeniable. And it doesn't matter how you deliver it. If it's a true thing that happened to you, the audience will feel it and follow along. And you don't have to turn it up to a melodramatic level. But this kid, by not focusing on that, also doesn't see his future of there's Hollywood producers who are just waiting to cast fucking, forgive me, I call him Dylan McKay all the time. Fucking
Jack Perry.
Like to cast his kid, bro. You know what I mean? Like Luke Perry's kid, like to be that second coming, just to say we got him, they'll put you in stuff. I'm sure heels and things like that. Great. He'd be great on that, but you got to do the work. You can't show up, and like him not seeing that, doing a little bit of work and that it's already in his DNA from his old man. And I just got to fucking work on it. That could open up fuck wrestling. I could be doing movies at the highest level and be a Hollywood superstar. So that shit always stinks.
You saw the same thing with me, and I give you a lot of credit for my early promo development between you and Jimmy. I didn't really like promos at first. It was easier when I was a heel, just because I could be insulting, and you know there's more shortcuts you can take as a heel. But I was not comfortable. Like when I met you in OVW, I didn't feel great about doing promos. And it wasn't until some of the lessons I picked up from you, just about stage presence and, you know, speaking, different things like that, and getting out of my comfort zone. Once we started doing all those wacky things where we weren't afraid to look stupid,
yep,
that's when you lose that fear of, oh, they're not going to like what I say, because you've already made an ass of yourself. So
exactly.
Now, you know, what the fucking happened now? I've already pooped my pants. So
yep. Everything, yeah, exactly. Everything is about getting out of your comfort zone. And we do the exercise big gay nerd to fucking make everybody look like a fool. And then if somebody's doing something, you turn it up more, and then we all emulate you. So if you're making farting duck noises while fucking doing jingling bear dance, I don't give the fuck what it is. If we all start doing it, then nobody is judging everybody else. And if we do that and then we all start doing it, supporting each other, it's hilarious and ridiculous. But once you cross that threshold, being Fonzie, hey, I can't do that. I wouldn't look cool in front of everybody. You keep looking cool. I'm going to do everything else and steal the show, bro, because I have no fear anymore. You're confining yourself. And that is what a huge step forward in becoming an amateur to a professional performer is all about, man, to be honest with you. Thank you very much for that compliment. That made me feel good.
Of course.
Backstage, Tony talks with Britt Baker. She cuts a hell of a promo. Jamie Hayter's there with them. Baker says she needs she knew she needed backup and going against Red Velvet, so we're even putting her over. Hayter says she and Baker go way back, and it's easy to and it was an easy yes to help her out. Hayter says next on Dynamite she wants Red Velvet and we'll fix that attitude. Baker recalls Velvet saying red wasn't Baker's color, and she knows for sure gold is not Red Velvet's color and never will be. Good wordplay and good fat. We had 4 people in this scene, and Reba's just agreeable, looking great, very sexy, been working her ass off in the gym. Diet-wise, it shows she's the most stunning woman in this scene, to be honest with you. And not that the other 2 aren't easy on the eyes, but Reba was a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, bro. So I'm happy for her. And Britt does a good mic pass to Hayter to give her the focus, and then they come back to do the DMD, and Hayter sells it, and she goes, she'll get it next time. Like whatever. Like, so everybody gets a little piece there, and their characters all work together. Harpo, Groucho, you know what I mean? We got the silent one, the lead, and Hayter fills in to get her stuff over as well, man. So this was a good little scene, and I couldn't ask for more from any of them.
Yeah, very good. Well, let's talk about the transformation of Jamie Hayter. From
Yeah.
Do you remember what she looked like the first couple times she showed up on Dynamite 2 years ago?
Just another girl, dark hair, kind of regular indie gear, and now there's something about the red hair, bro. Because what's that?
She was much heavier.
Oh yeah, she's down probably about 55 pounds. Yeah,
she's gotten jacked, toned up. She changed her hair color. It looks like she might have gotten some elective procedures. If she did, and it makes her feel good, great. But her look was on the money. She already can work her ass off.
I said this last night. I go, you want to go head to head WWE with the way a lot of those girls have fucked themselves up over there in that bubble with all that plastic surgery. There's maybe a couple, Alexa and a few others that don't look like Stepford wives. Asuka maybe. Yeah, and
Bianca, or maybe.
Who's that?
Bianca Belair, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. But not portrayed as sexy. Now look at those 3. Then look at Penelope Ford. Look at Bunny. Like when it comes to women and sex appeal of reality of what hot women look like, as opposed to this weird Hollywood, you need chin, eyes, and all this shit done. Like AEW's killing WWE with that shit, bro. Killing them. Their women are 10 times hotter and more believable. Their wrestling might not be up there, but I'm just saying.
We're getting there. Baby steps, right?
Yeah. Big Wiggin of Paul White. We talked about him coming down and talking shit to QT. QT comes out in his new Tony Soprano shirt. I like that one. I would probably wear that. So I was going to explain something to the morons of Houston. It actually shows Big Show's pictures of his huge zipper scar on his hip and the x-rays of his hip replacement. Oof, my hip's hurting just thinking about it. And Big Show does a great improv trick. Says yes and now you think showing my big beautiful ass up there is going to hurt me? And dude, the crowd pops. All he's doing is saying yes, and I'm going to talk about myself too. And it worked. And the back and forth here worked. And we're going to have a match. And everything that we've seen that's 2020, 2021, here's 1988. I love it. And dude, because we're going to have a match, cut to QT. Big eyes. What? Like he didn't know it was coming. Crowd pops huge. Dude, it's all flavors of ice cream. And this is my flavor right here. This is the same shit I would do to try and embarrass somebody, have a double back on me, and I paint myself into a corner. It's as easy as that, and it was fucking great. White then calls QT plugs and says that all out they're gonna have a match. So I like that boys are ribbing on each other about getting their fucking hair plugs in. All those things make me happy.
With this one, dude, I've seen Big Show wrestle so many times that I don't particularly have a strong desire to watch him have a match. Then the way WWE did the weird booking of Big Show for years, where he's a heel and face, 50 switches, and just never has his place. So when I heard that he would become an AEW and would eventually have matches, I was like, oh, all right. It makes sense for business reasons, but as a viewer, I don't care to see it. But guess what? After this promo, I want to see Big Show kick QT Marshall's ass.
Right.
That was the best thing.
What about his son Aaron Solo?
Oh yeah, I want to see him fuck QT's son up too. Double choke on him. But that's what a promo should do, right? Either sell tickets or make you excited about something you already plan on watching. I did that.
Bucks are so dominant backstage. Don Callis says that they need to go on a 2-month vacation. Oh, why? But Tony Schiavone, his stooges off that Tony Khan said, announces a tag title eliminator tournament that will feature the Varsity Blondes, Private Party, Jurassic Express, Lucha Brothers, and the winners get a world title shot in Chicago in a steel cage. Everybody pops. In the ring, Taz is with Hook. He introduces Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks cuts a promo. I was on a call with Stevie Ray at this time, talking about StreamYard issues. But then Starks has cut to the video and runs to the back. Hook and Taz follow. That was after Hobbs was standing in his Boys to Men 1991 airbrushed overalls, which I enjoyed, beating the shit out of Brian Cage. So the saga continues. Wu-Tang with Brian Cage getting beat down by the FTW champion and the whole goddamn crew.
Hey, this is a weird booking note, Hamin. How we just saw so Jurassic was #1 contenders, and they lost to the Bucks last week. Then a few minutes later, we get announced and a graphic for Friday that says Private Party is going to fight Jurassic Express in the semifinals of the Eliminator to get a tag title shot. Is it just me, or does that seem like weird booking that they just were #1 contenders, lost, and now they're getting another opportunity?
Well, they're in the top. Like if you were ranked #4 and I'm ranked #1 and I beat you in a boxing match, you're not gonna fucking go all the way back down. You're going to take another fight and you might be back up there. If you beat the #3 guy, you're going to be right back in there again. So I don't have a problem with that.
Who do you think's going over in this match? You think Private
Party? No, Luchas.
Right. So I don't know, it just seems a little weird to me. It seems like they're building to that again, or maybe they're going to do the switch with the Lucha Brothers. I got to have somebody though, bro. That's the one thing. The Bucks are killing it. The one thing that AEW is not doing a good job on with the tag division is building new babyface teams. Give me at least 2 that are credible to beat the Bucks.
Well, LAX is kind of fucked because they were with FTR, and then Buddy got his arm hurt, so their whole division's kind of offset. Backstage, Tony talks with Death Triangle and mentions their potential match it all out. Pac says the pay-per-view will be a perfect place for his match, and he had destroyed Kenny Omega on 2 weeks' notice. He wonders what chance Andrade will have against him. Andrade, Chavo, and the assistant roll up. Andrade says if Pac wants the match, they have some conditions. He pulls out of about a 500-page ream of paper for the conditions. That made me laugh. Wrestling phony. I like ribs on that in the business. There's a stack of papers from the read. Chavo tells Lucha Bros they'll never be champions with a boss like Pac. So trying to bait them to come over and turn on Pac. So we talked about this. That's what needs to happen. They need to be with them. And this is pretty on the nose, you know.
Then again with the boss, this is one of those things like the Sting and Team Taz promos. Pac is not their boss. They've never said it. Stop saying it on TV. He's not their boss. Andrade is kind of getting used like Miro was when Miro first came in before he started doing his own shit.
Let's not go out. He was wearing Minnie Mouse pajamas when he first came in, bro.
But I would say they were having about the same amount of impact. Like Miro did not have that much impact until he got on his own and started doing his shit. Now he's the most dominant performer on the show.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Is it that creative brought him in and pitched this to him, like how they had Miro set up to be the best man, right?
Yeah.
Or is this a case where Andrade is calling his own shots? But as you know, both from working in theater and producing in wrestling, not every performer is capable of writing their own material. Is he given bad booking, or is Andrade trying a direction that isn't working?
He's
Or
being
am I
given
wrong?
he's being given bad booking. Yeah, like I don't think they have a plan for him except for to get the Mexicans aligned with each other to do a El Chapo fucking Narcos thing, and we're gonna get there eventually. But they don't want to because of how SJW everything is. They don't want to get caught being like stereotypical for Latinos. You know what I mean? But eventually, it's going to be a mob boss figure with an advisor, consigliere, and sicarios who go out and do the hits. That's wrestling. I'm sorry if it goes against your fucking precious feelings, but they just got to get there. And Pac's going to spin out to be Solo.
I was thinking the same thing as opposed to Andrade not coming up with stuff. It's just they kind of handed him something weird. I hope we get to see him in that groove where they just let him go. Once this group comes together, let Andrade go and do his fucking thing. Let Penta be awesome. Let Phoenix be the best high flyer in the world. And we might get another mirror on our hands.
Could be. Thunder Rosa versus
Ford.
right, Penelope Ford looking sexy in the bodysuit. Some really bad footwork here in the beginning. Vader whips and Penelope Ford falling down over her own feet. Thunder Rosa, a solid mat technician, but I watched her do 2 Vader whips back to back. And like that to me is fundamentally where she comes from the indies and doesn't know why a girl that 120 pounds shouldn't be able to throw another girl 20 feet across the ring. And this is where Serena needs to run practice and be like, we're working on Irish whips today and shoot reverse and how to go into the buckle and how many steps and get this done over and over and over again till it becomes muscle memory, because they did really rough in the beginning and then they got it together. And then once they did, this match took off, but we got to have the fundamentals down, and Vader whips cannot be a part of that. One other thing.
In Rose's defense of those, and I agree, I teach against Vader whips. In Rose's defense, one, that's a Lucha Libre staple for south of the border, Tijuana.
Yeah. Two, I'm tired of selling for that, for
That's
things that are wrong.
Either
No,
way,
it's not how you do it.
Either
It's
way,
not,
that's how they do it. Right?
and it's wrong. And that makes it across the border and then causes problems like this. Like regional wrestling is regional wrestling, but making excuses because of the way Japan does things or Mexico just because it's normalized and they bite on it when it's exposed on TV in American style does not make it right.
That could be the case. You're definitely entitled to say that. I agree with you to do it another way. But I think what was the larger issue with this, and you've been there as a performer, I'm sure, Ford was not the right casting for Thunder Rosa to have this breakout match. We haven't seen it before. So Thunder Rosa could feel Thunder is a great technical wrestler and a phenomenal character.
Yes.
She could feel the footwork not being there. She could feel the rottenness happening. I know I've been there plenty of times when I'm in there with someone, they start getting squirrely and I'm missing details. My shoot off might not be as far close to the middle of the ring as it usually is. My duck clothesline might not look like I'm trying to take their head off, because you're thinking, how do I gain control? So I give Rosa a mulligan just from that.
And even with 2 great performers, sometimes it doesn't come together. What I was talking about with Spears and El Sexico earlier, that is the exact same thing. Sometimes you're in front of the crowd that's live and it nails it and they're oohing and ahhing, and other times you're going to stumble and bumble. That's the agreement that we make with our audience that's unsung, that's more important than what's really going on in the ring. Mm-hmm. But when you don't have it, you feel it. I was like, God damn, though, on the outside, shoot reverse, Thunder Rosa into the post hard as fuck, and my shoulder just started hurting, bro. She's young and she's going to learn the hard way that the post remains undefeated, and she took that post hard as fuck, and I was hurting for her off of that, bro.
She's a tough woman.
Yeah. So
I bet those strikes, like the running elbow she did in the corner.
Yes.
The knees. The one where Penelope Ford was laying in the ring on the bottom rope and Thunder came and gave her that tight drop kick that bent forward completely backwards.
Oh, yeah.
Like, fuck, man.
He's feeling it today, I'm sure, man. I'm sure they both are. But in the end, it's Thunder Rosa via submission. locks in the Muda lock. She tries to counters the Muda lock. She rolls over and locks in the submission for her own for the tap out. Sorry. But Penelope Ford, after that early footwork issues, I thought she stepped up, and you can only get better by wrestling people who are better than you. So it's gonna improve. And she's got the sex appeal. And her husband, where they tried to put all that over, gone. So we not learn? Because really, Sammy Guevara's kind of got the exact same thing going for him in that on the other side.
Here's what needs to be done with Ford. She's got the look, and if they're going for the sex appeal with the male demographic, I think it's a very smart choice. But Penelope needs a dedicated wrestling coach. I do a lot of personal sessions here in Florida because there's only but so much you can get in a group class. I'm not pitching myself for this role, but she needs to find someone close to her that can help her with her style and how she moves. Just from watching her last night, when she's putting heat on Rosa and just like doing some strikes or grabbing a hold, she looks fine. When she's given a move, she looks fine. She did that really cool jump over the top rope, kind of like a Bandera, double knees onto Thunder Rosa that looked stiff and great. So if I were Ford right now, if I were directing her, I would give her 3 moves, maybe 4, but one of those moves is that big jumping knee she does. The rest of the time, I'd have her be a chicken shit heel that's selling all of the time until the babyface runs into the post. She had a few like brutal clubs to the back. Great. Let her get those in there. Boom. Do her 3 moves during her heat. Bam. And then the finish happens. Babyface makes a comeback and wins, or the babyface makes a comeback, slips, and Ford cheats to win.
It goes over.
Where she fucks up, Hamin, is when she tries to do spots and get technical. She's
kind of the same thing with Bunny too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Bunny's got a lot more experience. Yeah, but I agree. She's awful at technical wrestling, and it's just because she hasn't had the training necessary yet. So we're never going to get really upper level matches out of her until she gets that dedicated training. But in the meantime, the formula I laid out will make her matches a lot better. Thunder is great. Thunder's one of her and Deeb right now, and Genocide, of course, are my favorite women in the business. I think so highly of Thunder Rosa. She's going to do amazing things. I just get upset sometimes with what she's presented. We got a match with her a few weeks ago, and they gave her like 3 minutes with Julia Hart, who has a year experience. And then we give her Penelope. Great look. Penelope's got some star power, but we know Ford is not a wrestler yet. She's getting there. God bless her. I got nothing against the girl. She tries hard. Maybe she'll be great one day. I hope she is. But let's give Thunder a better place to shine, man.
Come on, man. We look at the debut of Malachi Black, yada, yada, yada. We see Arn Anderson and his son, Brock. He says that next week he's booked himself into a match with Malachi Black. Brock says it's signed. He's doing it. He doesn't mean to air the family's dirty laundry, Dad, and walks off like a man when they want him to be a kid, but he looks like a 35-year-old man. So he handles his business like a 35-year-old man should. I laughed. I like Arn. Like this shit is, it was like, put a dip in, let's go to work, boys. You know what I mean? Fucking that wood ain't gonna fucking stack itself. That's the feeling I get from these promos, and that's what I like, because that's what I grew up around, man.
It felt to me like, what'd you say about my Paul?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna handle it, Paul. Don't you worry about that now.
Let's see if you got the same impression. After this promo, what do you now want to see happen? In this match coming up,
I want to see Brock get his ass whipped by Malachi Black, but I want Arn to be able to react and fucking give him the fuck with my family, like the Clint Eastwood, shit. You know what I mean? So, and then even then, he can lay out Arn, and we need a new unification of the fucking 4 horsemen or whatever they want to do to come help out. Maybe it's
Dustin, perhaps.
Dustin, could be Cowboy, could be a couple guys.
But that's good though, because that's the second time tonight I didn't want to see Brock Anderson versus Malachi Black a week ago.
No.
Now, once they announced it and we got that promo, I go, shit, I'm excited to see Malachi Black kick this kid's ass.
Yep.
And then the emotion of what could happen with Arn. So
And the
twice
fact
in one
that
show.
that kid getting his ass kicked and showing heart of a man until he gets fucking KO'd is going to get him over.
Right.
He don't need to be on the cell and all that. I mean, he's got to be on the cell, but you don't need to be scared.
We told the story last week of me taking 30 chops from Von Lilas and losing. Same fucking thing.
Same thing. What else here? We get Miro says he didn't forgive Fuego del Sol for accepting something he didn't earn, an AEW contract. Miro says if nobody comes for him, he'll come for them all. What? Eddie Kingston, the Redeemer, wants to talk. So that's that'll be good. I think Kingston and Miro, there'll be some fun promos back and forth there. Backstage, Moxley says what happened earlier today. Now everybody wants a piece of them. They're coming from everywhere. He talks about Elite, Omega, and he says, hey, man, Page couldn't get the job done when it came to winning the title. He tells Christian he'll run through him and should have stayed retired. Moxley says he really wants to show who's at the top of the food chain. He then tells his Rampage opponent, Daniel Garcia, this is what he really wants. Moxley says the ringside doctor will be there for him, but Garcia better be sure AEW is really what he wants to be because this ain't no joke. And I think he'll beat the kid within 6 to 8 and fucking and then he'll cut this promo again saying he's the best and that he should be at the top, and then Cult of Personality hits and off we go. So the final pillar match, Jericho can't use the Judas effect. If he does, he'll be disqualified. He can't even come out to Judas, but the crowd sings him out. It took him a little bit, but they all got on the same page eventually. And it was a moment where I didn't even care about the match because people were asking me in the chat what I think about Jericho and Fozzy and all that. And I got to be honest with you, I hated that fucking type of music from the 80s. That's what put me on to hip hop. But I know he loves it, and I know there's a ton of people who do. And I have not only just ultimate respect for him for what he has done in wrestling in his career, but I think that's awesome when a guy wants to pursue something as a passion and he puts it all into it and becomes a success there. Crossing over from one art form to another is a very difficult thing to do unless it's hip hop to acting. It doesn't seem to go the other way hardly ever. And for him to come out and have an arena full of people, no matter how conditioned they are, singing his lyrics, his song to him while he stands there and is showered by those voices, that I don't care if you're a celebrity or whatever, you're a human being at the end of the day. And that's a great feeling that I was happy to watch him get to live more than I cared about the mark out moment. I was just happy for him going, dude, that's a moment when you're hopefully 90 looking back on your life. You're like, I remember that and that good feeling, dude. I was happy to witness that. It made me feel good for him.
The look on his face said it all. You know?
Yeah.
That's where we, as one of the boys, we can relate to those moments and feel for him. So that was really cool.
Yep. Yeah, it was excellent. And this match was excellent, back and forth. Even MJF gets on top and throws him on the outside, and he grabs the camera and does the middle finger in front of all the crowd. Great stuff. Jericho gets up, punches the camera, and here's what was brilliant about that. We made an agreement that we're now looking through MJF's first-person point of view. Did he punch MJF in the face? No, but it looked like the camera was. So we break a fourth wall and we punch the fourth wall instead of punching the third wall of the person. He sells back just so he can get the shot and flip off the camera, Jericho to return. We're making TV inside of TV, and the play within the play is the highest level of the Shakespearean author. So to me, again, this was, I'm going to offer this game. We're going to play it out true, and the audience will come along with us. And they did inside of the already false reality we're creating. I loved it. I loved that little spot, and I laughed. It does get pretty, back and forth, beating the shit out of each other. They get the Japanese elbows in and all the gimmicks. Hits a lion salt for a great false finish. Super clean. For those, like I said, those times that Jericho's been able to be criticized in the last 5 weeks for whatever peanut gallery reason. Tonight, he was on his game 100%, man.
See
MJF,
his ups on everything.
Yeah.
last night?
yes. Yep, it was all there. Timing was there, and sticking the landings were there. Jericho reverses in the walls, and Jericho able to lock it in for a second. MJF turns over, hits him with an up kick. I would have liked to seen an eye poke there.
Okay.
He punched him. Like that's where I like think that means so much more than strong shit in a heel. But small things. Back and forth punch, and even there was another one where MJF hit something big and Jericho was down. That was MJF's time to walk around the ring and be like, fuck this guy, I'm the man. There's one or two of those that he missed last night too, where I was like, if that was me, Mondo would be bitching me out afterwards, be like, Sheik, that's your time to go around and do Ya Allah. We missed all that right there, man. We don't got to wrestle, like telling me that shit. MJF looks to put the diamond ring on, but you can't fucking get one over on Aubrey Edwards. She sees he's doing it, takes it off while his back turns. Jericho slides in with the bat, hits MJF in the stomach, and then it goes to hit him with the Judas effect, but he realizes he can't. And then MJF hits Jericho with a Judas effect and locks in the fucking armbar and goes over clean. So the babyface uses the bat, which is ineffective after, that should have been the finish. It should have been bat into whatever, 1, 2, 3. But the bat gets no sold, and then the Judas effect gets put over, and the arm bar.
A little transition in between there.
Okay.
So he did go for the Judas effect, told the story of realizing he can't do the move this week, and stopped and registered it. Then MJF hit him with a nice Judas effect, false finish. MJF gets his arm bar in, but they had a couple transitions, a little bit of rolling around. Jericho rolled him over into a pin. Then inevitably MJF got it set back in with the finish.
I don't know, man. If you're getting caught as the heel and with the weapon and the ref's going away and you're doing the baby face gets to use the weapon as a reverse heel payback, that's the finish, not the heel going back over clean again, because that's not a heel ass win. So all it really did was get over the Judas effect, but MJF looked good. He's off the B12. He looks natural. I got no problem with him being smaller. He's all about character. This was a great main event. It delivered fully, and thought this was a good show overall, 2 weeks in a row. But tomorrow's going to be the big telltale thing of what they do with Punk. And if they don't billboard it, then I hope they got their own Danny Davis to fucking chew their ass out, because it's a tough lesson to learn, especially with the price they're paying. I didn't have any overhead when I learned it except for my dues payment.
There you go. And this, I'll agree with you. This match was a great main event, but more so it was a great match. And it goes to show how we can still do traditional psychology in the confines of the modern setting. And Jericho's a master of that. I liked that Judas effect spot a lot. I was watching with Jenna. She didn't know how to feel about it. I was like, no, I think it was great. Just because I loved the story of him stopping, realizing he can't do it. Now, to play devil's advocate and fit you in, what should have happened was Aubrey missed the bat shot. He threw it away. But as Jericho's going for the Judas, that's when Aubrey turns around and says, whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, he realizes it. Then we go into the finish.
Okay.
That way you and I could both, like if we were writing this booking, that would have been our compromise.
Right.
But it was great. And I didn't expect the tap out, and a lot of other people didn't. So I just want to say that that's very good business, and a lot of respect for Chris Jericho for putting MJF, the smaller heel, over clean in the middle in the most decisive way possible. He didn't knock Jericho out with the weapon and then put him in the arm bar, and Jericho had no choice. He got him in the hold. Jericho's arm was weakened, and he had to tap out because MJF had his number. I thought he did great business for him, and kudos to them. It was a hell of a match. Best main event I've seen on Dynamite in a long time. Probably the best AEW match I've seen since that one Omega had with Seidel. And this one might even been better.
Yeah, absolutely agree with all that, man. And a great way to take me back to WCW, even though when it was those best of 5 or 7 series, it was mainly just straight wrestling. We didn't have pizza cutters and all this other bullshit, but they've told a long story here, and the payoff was very satisfying. I was happy for them. People thanking us that we're giving this light the fuse away for free. I know you guys have had you've been super patient with the issues we had with Realm and getting it built out the right way. And yes, HMG stuff will usually be behind a paywall, but right now I just want to say thank you for sticking with us. That's why it's on patreon.com/Hamin Media Group for free. These 2 weeks, I'll just be releasing all of our stuff that way. Not all Master Shoot Theater and whatnot. The new one is hilarious and up behind the $5 face slap tier, but most of our review shows and everything, I just put up NXT review, Impact Attack, and like the Fuse. You're obviously listening to this too. If you're not here with us live on my YouTube or twitch.tv/Hamin Media, I won't be on for the first time in a while for SmackDown Live Self-Help Group because I'm going to see Nas with my boys, so that'll be a good time. So you guys drink a little extra for me and make sure you have a good time with it as we head into SummerSlam on Saturday. And special thanks to Genocide, as always, making our days a little more bright and beautiful. Is green as she is, not knowing about power bombs through fucking tables and how you shouldn't tell them. But whatever, I'm here to help these kids out. But how about you, youngster? What do you got going down this weekend? Anything?
Oh, lots of stuff, man. And I'll go ahead and stooge it off on the air since we're wrapping up. Old Hamin and I had a little discussion before we went on the air today just about what we want to do with Light the Fuse and possibly with Rampage down the line. And we made the decision today. We love doing this show. The audience has been great and super fucking receptive of it. So we decided today that we're just going to keep on doing this for you guys every week. Hang with us, be patient like you just have been. Hamin's giving you guys tons of free content. When we get the Realm thing sorted out, we're going to keep putting out bangers of shows. So I just want to say thanks to you guys for following along with us and listening to the show, because it is the best AEW show on the planet today right now, even better than their own podcast. But yeah, I'm busy here in Clearwater training some people at the so I've got a new team name that I'm building upon. Team Death Proof at Side Dojo is now my exclusive brand, my version of American Top Team. Yeah,
nice.
Where all the deadliest shooters in America are going to come from. So Team Death Proof at Side Dojo. If you need some wrestling training, hit me up. Maybe I can fit you in. Getting ready for Empower. It's only 10 days away, I believe, or 9 days away at this point. I'll be in St. Louis at the end of the month with Genocide. Who will be in the main event of NWA Empower, the first all-women's pay-per-view in the first ever Empower Cup, where you're going to see 9 women fighting for a chance at the championship. Interesting note this week, Sports Illustrated article came out that Billy Corgan has purchased Mildred Burke, the first female champion and huge star in her day, has purchased Burke's actual title.
I saw that. I saw the.
How fucking cool. They refer to their NWA Women's World Championship as the Burke, as like a nickname for it. But now they actually have the real Burke too. So super excited for Genocide. It looks like I'm going to have some coaching opportunities up there to work with some of the women on Empower. So I'm just happy. Whatever I can do to help these wrestlers fucking learn their craft, get better, and put on better fucking matches for the wrestling fans, I'm down to do this. At this point in life, I think that's what I'm here to do. Bullshit around with fucking Hamid and tell Trailer Park Boys jokes and teach people about wrestling.
Absolutely, Randy. Yeah, man, that's awesome. I know she's going to absolutely kill it. I hope you guys have a great weekend this weekend, training, having a fun time, getting ready for all that. Empower you guys. Let's support Genocide, and then everybody over there is kicking ass. Camille Brickhouse, their champion as well. Serena, and I'm sure Velvet Sky is going to be in the house. Our own beautiful people kicking ass, man. I feel like I had one other thing.
It's going to be on, while you think of it, it's going to be on Fight TV. The tickets for the 73 pay-per-view are sold out, so you can't get any of those. There are a few remaining for Empower if you want to make the trip to St. Louis or you're around there. But if not, go on Fight TV. You can pre-order it right now. You can either get Empower, I believe, for like $20 around there, or you could get both shows for like $35. So it's a good deal. I'd recommend getting both because they're both going to be really good. But please support these women. this is a new frontier, man. I got nothing but love for women's wrestling. I coach women. I'm married to a women's wrestler. Fucking please support these women. It means a lot to them and to the industry. So if you can get on Fight TV and at least order that in Power, you'll like what you see, and I'd appreciate it as well.
Y'all, man, for sure. They're asking me in the chat, when am I going to see Nas? The Great New York State Fair. It's only $3 if you buy your ticket online at Chevy Court. The show's for free there. One of their free shows. It's going to be mob deep. I don't know if they're opening, but no, I'm saying it's going to be a deep mob of people. But I'll be there with my posse hanging out. So for $3, you could see Nas tomorrow night if you're willing to drive to Syracuse, New York, and deal with
like an Illmatic anniversary thing, or he just?
No, he just dropped a brand new album. His new album is fucking phenomenal, and sure he'll be playing stuff from Illmatic and If I Ruled the World, Made You Look, all the bangers. Because State Fair show, you're gonna want to fucking do all that gimmick. So I'm looking forward to hanging out. They did say though that you can smoke in the open there for the first time.
Ganja?
Yeah, in New York, bro. Like
that place is gonna be lit.
Yeah, for sure, man. So $3 for a fair ticket to see Nas if you're willing to drive to Syracuse as we take over there next in the NXT TakeOver Kabul World Tour. It's Hacker Hamin, it's Big Silvio, it's Light the Fuse, AEW Dynamite. We're rampaging on. We'll see if anybody goes to sleep tomorrow night, infidels. Yalla.